fourth algorithm and very important CPU scheduling algorithm. So here, like before explaining this, I should tell you this is one of the preemptive scheduling algorithm. See, you all know the difference between preemptive and non-preemptive. So what is preemptive? Like where a CPU can taken away, and non-preemptive where a CPU cannot taken away, and some more differences it is given. I have already explained the differences between preemptive and non-preemptive scheduling, and when coming to this round robin scheduling algorithm is preemptive scheduling algorithm. So here it means what have to understand, where a CPU can taken away. Once a process started its execution, in the middle a CPU can stop its execution, it can also give execution for the other process. Okay, so it means shortly you can understand where CPU can taken away, that itself it is called as a preemptive scheduling, and round robin scheduling algorithm is one of the preemptive scheduling algorithm. Okay, so where with the help of a diagram, see, like a round, like you have a ready queue and you have a CPU, and where in the ready queue you have some number of processes. So here see, P1, P2, P3 is the given, where three number of processes want to undergo execution. But in this diagram, you can observe, see there is a preemption. There is a preemption where even though P1 is going for execution first, even after P1, P2, P3, after completion of all the processes, P1 is again going for execution. P1 again it is going for execution. So it means what you can understand, even though, see, like once the process 1 started execution, again after process 1, process 2 came, process 3 came, but after all the processes, after P3, again P1 is going there. That too it is written like a dotted line. It means what? Because in this first turn, once the first turn is given for P1, that time P1 did not finish its execution. Like after completing all the processes, again P1 got a chance of second chance of execution. So where after completing all the remaining processes, P1 is being preempted and P1 will go for execution next. Okay. Now, see, round robin is the preemptive process scheduling algorithm, as I told you, and each process in this, like whatever process it is coming for execution in this round robin, it will be coming with the concept called as a quantum. Okay, it is coming with the time period, or it is coming with the time, but that time is called as what? Quantum. Okay, where you can also understand in another way, like whatever this burst time is there, whatever this CPU burst time is there, that will be divided into slices. That will be divided into slice, that is also called as what? Time slice. I have also written here that is also called as what? Time slice. So what you can understand, see, each process is provided with a fixed time to execute. Fixed time will be given for each process. That fixed time is called as what? Quantum. At the same time, you can also understand each burst time of the process will be divided into slice, and that slice is called as what? Time slice. With an example, I'll explain how the time slice will be working and what exactly the time slice. Okay, so here you understand each process will be coming with a fixed time. It means what? That particular fixed time, whatever fixed time is there with each process, only that time only it should use a CPU. Only for that time it should use a CPU. Only that time only a process should be in a CPU for execution. Okay. Now, and like where once the process is executed for a given period of time. So as I told you, each process will be coming with a fixed time. So once the process is done with the execution, whatever a given period of time is given, if the process completed its execution in a given period of time, no need to worry, no problem at all. If the process is not able to complete its execution in a given period of time, again what happened? The next term will be given, the next chance will be given. Okay, see, once the process is executed for a given time period, it is preempted, and other process, so other process execute for a given time period. It means, see, as I told you, P1, P2, P3 is there. If P1 complete its execution in a given period of time, P1 will be going and P2 will come for execution. Okay, but sometimes what happens, P1 will be not able to complete because of a given fixed period of time, because of whatever a given period of time is given, and if it is not able to complete its execution in a given period of time, so that time again P1 will come next. Okay, but immediately the P1 will not come. After completing whichever remaining processes are there, after completing all the remaining processes, then the process will come for execution. Okay, with an example you can understand much better there. Okay, so here quantum you have to remember, it means each process will come with the fixed time. At the same time, I also told you that where burst time will be divided into slices, that slice is also called as what? Time slice. Yes, now with an example, see, like you have a process P1, P2, P3 with the respective like a burst time 25, 3 and 3 milliseconds. Okay. Now as usual the same thing. Here we will be writing what? Gantt chart. So you will be writing the Gantt chart here. As usual, very first one you have a P1. Okay. But see, what is the time? What is the burst time of P1? It is 25 milliseconds. But I have taken what? Only 5 milliseconds, because I told you that each process will come with the fixed time. Okay. So what is that fixed time? See, once the problem is given in examination, along with the problem, the time slice also will be given. Okay. Here in this problem, as per the example, what I have taken, the time slice is how much? 5 milliseconds. The time slice is how much? 5 milliseconds. Okay. So it means each process should use CPU only 5 milliseconds. If process with the less than 5 milliseconds, no problem, it can use. Okay. So here, see, P1, what is the time slice? What is the burst time of P1? 25 milliseconds. And the time slice is how much? Only 5 milliseconds. Because of that, very first P1 from 0 to 5. From 0 to 5 milliseconds, it will be used. So once the fixed time, once the time slice is given is 5 milliseconds, after 5 milliseconds, immediately P2 will come. Okay, and what is the P2? What is the burst time of P2? It is only 3 milliseconds, which is less than 5 milliseconds. Okay, so like that 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3, you will be getting what? Like a 8. And here see, only 5 is done. Only 5 is done. Remaining 20 milliseconds is there. Remaining 20 milliseconds is pending. But here see, preemption is taken place. Why it is preemption? CPU stop giving execution for P1 and CPU is taken away. CPU start giving execution for P2. Okay. And P2, as it is less than 5 milliseconds, in the first attempt, in the first execution only, P2 will be finished. Okay, and you have next, you have P3. And what is the burst time of P3? Again, it is 3 milliseconds. 8 plus 3, how much it is? 11. Okay, even P3 is also finished. And 3 is always less than 5. In the first attempt only, even P3 finished in execution. Okay, now you have like a P2 is finished, P3 is finished, but you have still with the P1. Okay, so again P1 will come here. Okay, like here see, like a P2 is less than 5, P3 is less than 5. Because of it is less than 5, in the first attempt only P2 and P3 is finished with execution. If it is more than 5, again after P1, P2 will come. Okay, so here what you have to understand, even though P1 is left out with the 20, even like continuously it cannot go ahead with the P1, because after P1, P2 is there, P3 is there. But here after completing P2 and P3, continuously P1 can be taken its execution, because as per the example there is no other process left out. Okay, there is no other process left out with the execution, because P2 and P3 finished its execution. Continuously after P3, P1 can go again. Here see, after P3, P1, because it is what 20 was pending. Again here what will be happening? Still 15, because plus 5 will be taken, because the time slice is how much? Only 5 milliseconds. Okay, time slice is 5 milliseconds. 11 plus 5, it will be 16. Okay, and here it is still how much is there? 15. But because P2 and P3 is finished its execution, continuously P1 can continue now. Continuously P1 can do, and again after that plus 5. So this will become how much? 10. So 16 plus 5, how much it is? 21. Again after that, so again here, again 21 plus 5, it is 26. Again only 5 was left out. 26 plus 5, it is 31. So this is the way how you write a Gantt chart. Okay, I'll repeat. See, because the time slice is given is 5 milliseconds and P1 is bursting with the 25 milliseconds. But for the first attempt, it should take only 5 milliseconds. After that, like you have a P2 and P3, but P2 and P3 is with less burst time, less than 5 milliseconds. In a first attempt only, P2 will finish its execution, P3 also will finish its execution, but P1 is still pending with the 20 milliseconds. Okay, and there is no other process pending, so because of that, P1 will continue one after other by taking only 5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds, 5 milliseconds. So this is the way how, like a round robin scheduling algorithm, by using round robin scheduling algorithm, the Gantt chart will be written. Okay, and now like as usual, same thing, you will be calculating what? Average waiting time, average turnaround time, and the formula is all same. Okay, to calculate waiting time, the formula, and to calculate turnaround time, the formula is all same. Now, but here little little working is there, or little you have to understand how to calculate. See now, very first one, P1. And you all know the formula for waiting time, starting time minus arrival time. Okay, now P1, starting time is 0. Arrival time is always 0, you got what? You will get 0 only. After that you have what? P2. Starting time is 5 and arrival time is 0, you will be getting 5. And P3, starting time is 8, arrival time is 0, you will be getting 8 only. But again the Gantt chart is not finished yet, is it not? Now again you have like a P1. See, P1 starting time is 11. Okay, because continuously P1 is only coming. There is no other process is coming in the middle. And why P1 is only taken continuously? Because this P2 and P3 is finished. Only the pending process was what? P1, and the time slice is 5 milliseconds. Each 5 is been divided, and according to that the Gantt chart is written here. Okay, now see P1 again for this starting time is how much? 11, and arrival time is always 0. But you should not take 11. You should not take 11 because the same process which is called as P1, it is already finished for 5 milliseconds. Okay, see for this 3 I have written like how to calculate the waiting time I have written. Okay, again P1 is coming, and what is the formula for calculate waiting time? Starting time minus arrival time. P1 again it is started with what? 11 milliseconds. Okay, but you should not take 11 because out of 11, see how you got 11, you are taking cumulative. Out of 11, the process is starting with 11, but the same process called as P1, it is already finished with 5 milliseconds. Okay, the process is starting with 11, but how you got 11? But the same process is already finished with 5 milliseconds. Because of that, you will be taking what? 11 minus 5. See, 11 is starting, but same P1 is already finished with 5 milliseconds. You will be getting what? 11 minus 5, you will get as 6. And as you all know, P1, like a starting time, like a formula to calculate waiting time, starting time minus arrival time, you will get 6 here. Okay, but how you got 6? How you got 6? That is very important. See, the P1 is starting with 11. Okay, but already the same process is finished with 5. Because of that, 11 minus 5 you will get 6. And now the starting time of P1 is 6 and arrival time is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. Okay, and remaining all the process is same. All the process is same. Because of that, you will not calculate again starting time, again waiting time for a P1 again, because there is no other process coming in the middle. Okay, now, so this is the way. See here, this is for P1 and P2 and this is P3. So like where P1 is 0 plus 6. 0 plus 6 and P2 starting like the waiting time is 5 and P3 waiting time is 8. So divided by 3. Okay, even though the P1 is repeated number of times, but the calculating the number of processes will be counted as only 3, because in a table only 3 processes given. So 90 divided by 3 you will be getting 6.3 milliseconds as the average waiting time. And coming to the next one, average turnaround time. See, in this average turnaround time, again the same formula. What is the formula to calculate average turnaround time? Like first response minus arrival time. Okay. Now, see like for P1 and P1, see first finish time. Sorry, like what is the formula for turnaround time? Finish time minus arrival time. Is it not? So finish time. Where P1 is finished, you should not take this. Okay, you should not take this because the P1 is not finished yet. Okay, where P1 is finished here. The P1 is finished with the 31 milliseconds. So where you will be getting 31 minus 0, you will be getting it as 31. 31 minus 0, you will get 31. And P2 is finished here only. Okay, because the time slice what is given and the burst time of P2 is only 3. It is finished here only. So 8 minus 0, you will be getting 8. And P3 is also finished here only. So where 11 minus 0, you will be getting 11. So where 21 plus 8 plus 11 divided by 3 is equal to 50 divided by 3, where you will be getting 16.6 milliseconds. Okay. So this is the way how you calculate average waiting time and turnaround time by using a formula. And only a very important thing, writing a Gantt chart is very important here because it is a round robin, and as I told you, it is a preemptive scheduling. Okay, and completely it is all based on what? The given time slice. The time slice will be given along with the question itself. So based on a time slice where the process will be preempted. Okay, in this P1 is with the 25 milliseconds. Okay, 25 milliseconds is the burst time, and the given time slice is how much? Only 5 milliseconds. Because of that, the P1 is been divided 5. But like a P2 and P3 is with the less burst time, 3 milliseconds. And the first attempt only P2 and P3 will be finished its execution. After that, only P1 was pending. It will be coming like a 5. Okay, like this is the way how you write a Gantt chart, and by using the Gantt chart, you will be calculating average waiting time and average turnaround time. Okay, and round robin, this is one of the preemptive scheduling algorithm. Thank you.